Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are live now with episode 113 here of SC2 Up and Coming. And joined with me tonight is Curran. Sadly, no Master Dolk. He is sick. I guess, it's like super cold up there in Canada and schools are just full of diseases and stuff. I don't know. It's like flu season and in the U.S. at least, and people in my area in Virginia have just been sick like nonstop from like end of November to like now. So I'm not surprised that more people are getting sick. But I don't know. But how are you doing, Curran? It's been like a month, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm doing good though. Had some nice, time off, even though it's traveling and holidays. Is still good to get away from it all, I guess.
Yes. Have that nice little off season from all the craziness that happens during the regular year. I completely understand. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I know we have some people joining us in the chat. If this is your first time watching, welcome. This is, of course, SC2 Up and Coming. Normally, we have 3 hosts, but tonight we just got 2. We will also be having a guest. As you can see down below, Astrea will be joining us later today to kind of talk a little bit about WCS and talk a little bit about himself kind of thing, since he is one of our new WCS participants, since he was able to qualify up as of last week. So we'll have him on a little bit later in the show, but if for whatever reason you don't know what the show is about, or you forgot in that month we were off, SC2 Up and Coming is focused on the up and coming scene, hence the name. We talk about team and player changes, tournaments, all that kind of stuff. And now that WCS is back in full swing, we'll be talking about that as well as one of our main focus. But it seems like that off season is like the flood of land, so we have a lot of lands to talk about as well tonight. There was at least 3 that took place over the weekend.
I think 2 of them on the same day.
Actually, all 3 of them took place on the same day.
Oh, there you go.
At least the 3 that I'm going to talk about. I'm sure there's more that took place that I just didn't know about or didn't hear about, which if you guys are having lands and you want to help spread the word about them, let us know so we can talk about them on the show. We'd love to talk about local lands and stuff like that. But enough about us and whatnot and the holidays and everything. Why don't we actually jump into the show and talk a little bit about some of the general news and stuff that's kind of happened more or less in the month. We've tried to kind of keep it within the last week or 2, really, in January, and not too much focus on December. But how about at least in January? What have we missed? I know we've got, actually, top 100 streamers is one of the things that I wanted to bring up, because every month they do kind of their top streamers and stuff, but they actually compiled a whole list of the top streamers of 2014, which I thought was really cool to kind of look through the list. And they even broke down like the months that these streamers were active and the ones that they were not active, what were their average views, how many hours, peak, all that cool information that if you like looking at just numbers and statistics and stuff like that, you might find that kind of stuff interesting. And to see out of all of the races, Terran seemed to be the most represented in our top 10, at least in 2014.
About half, yeah.
Then again, it was players like Polt, Innovation, Marine King, MMA. DeMuslim was also in there as well as our Terrans that were kind of most viewed. Some of the other top 10 we had was...
Not many Protoss.
No, Grubby. Grubby was our sole Protoss representative. We had 2 Zerg players, Destiny and Stefano. I think most people can look at Destiny and be like, alright, it makes sense. He's kind of a streamer. It'd be silly not to have him kind of be represented in the top 10. But we had 2 random players, which I thought was very cool. Apollo and Winter. But if you guys are kind of paying attention even just to the streamer list on TL, you'll see Winter is streaming like every day and constantly getting lots and lots of viewers. So that kind of makes sense. I was
just looking at his hours on here,
yes,
compared to everyone else.
They have 2 lists too for it. Like the sorted by hours. Of course, Winter is number 1. He's in 2014 he has reached the maximum number. Right behind him is Destiny there, but very interesting to note that Winter made top 10 on both lists.
And he has twice as many hours as Destiny.
Yes, he does. So Winter does stream a lot. And he was doing a little bit. He was playing in the WCS Challenge League qualifiers, I know, last week, doing a little bit of coverage for it after he got eliminated and everything. So, cool stuff going on with, of course, Winter and his streaming capabilities. The other random player that we had was Apollo, which I thought was interesting since he only streamed like 3 months and then didn't stream at all, but still, good on Apollo, at least for average viewers, was able to hop up there in that top. Of course, for sort of by views or hours wise, we have a different top 10, which represents a lot more Protoss, I'd say, in this one. At least Minigun, In Control, and Grubby are listed for the top 2014 by views, so per hour, if you look at it that way. So I thought just little interesting notes there, and I like seeing the whole 100 list to see some of the players that you don't really see very much, like Lucira as one of them. He's actually listed on the top 100 just because he streamed at the beginning of 2014 and then never again at the end. But just enough to make it up there in like 94th spot there. So Jockshi is another one that like only streamed like 3 months, but I know, always cool to kind of look through some of the players that are getting lots of views or streaming a lot more than others there. So yeah, good,
definitely,
good stuff. With the top streamer stuff, and this is something that does get posted up. They always do the top 50 streamers of each month. So if you really want to keep track of the streamers and how they're doing, that's kind of their, I guess, streamer ladder almost.
And expect to see Winter up there a lot.
Yes, that is true. Expect to see lots of Winter. Expect to see Destiny. Avillo is probably going to be on that list too. I'm assuming. I know he's streaming a lot. Dragon, these sort of players are what you'd expect to see on there. And of course, regular pros too. But so that's kind of what's going on in that regard. But kind of sort of leading into team and player changes, also general news in relation to kind of Game Heart. What's going on with that, Curran? Actually, Ryan himself, but
the wonderful Ryan Shooter is now working with Blizzard officially. He's officially part of the Blizzard team, and now he can actually do what he's always wanted to do and tried to do with the Game Heart project, which is just work on the game full time and not have to worry about a paycheck somewhere else.
Yes, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, huge congrats to him, and well deserved. Definitely. He has put in so much work for the community.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be seeing some cool new changes to some of maybe the UIs and overlays and stuff like that, potentially. I don't know. We'll see what crops up now with him being able to work for Blizzard there. But that kind of leads us into our team and player changes. And some of these you guys have probably seen or maybe heard something about over the last month or so, or maybe some of them you haven't. So we're just going to touch on a couple of them. I know QXC in particular kind of made a whole post about how he's going to be taking a break from StarCraft 2 for a little bit after the first season of WCS. So that's, if you guys are interested, there's a whole little blog post about it kind of thing. And it really talks about his year, like 2014 in particular, and kind of leading up to this point. Now, he has already made it into the Challenge League. He has qualified up. So at least doesn't have to worry about trying to scramble and get those last couple spots there for NA. He just kind of hopes that he can get into Premier League, have a good kind of solid run, and then be like, all right, I'll take a break till Legacy of the Void, or whenever he decides to come back, because it does sound like he is interested in coming back. It's more like, I am likely to return to Legacy of the Void.
Yeah.
It's not like a specific time frame of how long he's going to be away from the game or anything like that. He just says, I'm not done with StarCraft 2, but I feel like I need a break. So.
And he's even saying, he might even come back to competitive as soon as the Legacy of the Void beta is in his hands, as soon as he has access to it.
Which I think would be cool, too, is just to be like, all right, I don't have to worry so much about Heart of Swarm anymore. I can just focus on Legacy Boy. And we actually
Yeah.
saw...
And you want to start early.
Yes. I mean, we saw quite a few players do that. Wings of Liberty to Legacy of the Void.
Or to Heart of the Swarm, you mean?
Yes. That's... Yeah.
That'd be a long break.
That would be. Wings of Liberty to Heart of the Swarm. A lot of players are just like, okay, cool. I know this is not a 100%. This is how the game's going to be in the beta, but I feel more comfortable just playing this and really starting to get a leg up than to be kind of stuck over here on this stuff that I'm not enjoying as much anymore.
Yeah, and even then with the changes, you're more aware of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know the game better than someone that's coming in.
But I feel at least the difference between then and now, we have... I feel like the game is still better suited and people are still enjoying it more now than the end of Wings of Liberty, just because it's not the same Broodlore Infestor sort of games. Not saying that was bad play or anything like that. Yes, it would win you games, but it wasn't always the most exciting games. So we'll see. I mean, it's, I guess, rumors going around that beta should be starting up soonish.
This month is what they told us at BlizzCon, I believe.
Okay. Was it this? I know that I thought they said Overwatch is also planning to start up.
And I believe Master Dolk was saying that that's what they said earlier today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it sounds like January is their time frame to start releasing all the betas all the time. I know Heroes of the Storm is supposed to be going into closed beta tomorrow. So in case you guys are out there that don't have Heroes of the Storm or haven't tried it yet, maybe you'll be able to jump in and play some Heroes of the Storm. I know Curran played a lot early on and hasn't played as much lately. I'm still playing every so often, but yeah, so we'll see how things go with QXC in particular, but just wanted to bring that up for all you guys out there. Some of the other things, speaking of Heroes of the Storm, Todd has said he's going to go play Heroes of the Storm.
You can see good transition there. You set that up. You had that planned.
I was ready. You guys might, as of late, know Todd or remember Todd from his casting that he's done, in particular, like working with ESL, working with Red Bull, and you know, he's been around the scene for a while, been in and out of WCS EU as well as commentating full time. So like he was kind of doing a lot, but he had his background in Warcraft 3 before he started up with StarCraft 2. So, you know, just kind of this micro ability with heroes and stuff like that kind of fits in maybe a little bit with some of these Warcraft 3 players. So maybe we'll be seeing more switch over to that. I don't know. At least Todd said he's been enjoying it. He played like 1,000 games in 2 months, so he's like, yeah, it seems like a pretty good fit for me to try it out and see. So
yeah, he wants to see what he can accomplish with it, at least.
So this is, I mean, Heroes is still like alpha, but we're already seeing teams. Like EG has a team, Team Liquid has a team. I want to say Cloud9, Dignitas also have a team. So it's cool. I mean, if as Blizzard games goes, they tend to have a good following. Like we can look at the gate. You know, Warcraft, StarCraft, even Hearthstone.
And say even Overwatch, or what may soon not be called Overwatch.
Oh, they're thinking about changing the name?
There's a copyright issue, apparently.
Really?
There's a mobile app named Overwatch for like airsoft game. Like
that sucks.
So we'll see what happens. But it may not be called Overwatch at this point.
Well, all right. Good to know. So we'll have to keep an eye out with what's going on with Blizzard. But yeah, that's what's going on with Todd, at least. Heroes of the Storm gaming, doing that sort of thing. But Curry, what else has been going on with the team and player changes? What else has been happening over the last month or so?
Well, this was actually a big surprise to me. It makes sense, but I didn't see it coming, and I missed the news when it actually was announced. And that is Solaris Gaming is shutting down or shut down. As most of the players they started with, if not all, I think, had left and gone elsewhere. And
yeah. I mean, they had 4 original Qatar Cheese, Jon Snow, Padre, and Silky. They were no longer with the team. It was Cham, Sonic, Trace, and Virium, who were the last 4 on the squad. I guess like those four original knew at some point ahead of time that we're like, all right, I guess should start looking for other teams.
Well, I don't think
But
they ever had a sponsor, really.
yeah, I don't. I think they were an organization, kind of a clan.
Yeah,
they had their website.
and it was mostly just run by Jason Punn.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, a good group of guys, and it's cool, like
Yeah.
that they have that organization and have that kind of group of friends that can be able to play together. It sucks that they weren't able to get any sponsorships and really kind of help keep the Solaris stuff alive, but you know, sounds like some of the other players are being able to find new homes and stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone should be able to find at least somewhere similar to go of similar level.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let's slide over. We've got a few additions to some of the other organizations, like Flipside. If you guys know, Solaris and Flipside were partnered up in some team leagues and stuff, so it kind of makes sense that Flipside would pick up at least Jon Snow as one of their players to be able to grab. Silky was one of the other ones that they grabbed as well, the Zerg player, and then we talked about previously IVD and that whole thing. Well, Puck now is on Flipside Gaming, so
Which is a good move for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a shame that IVD doesn't have the resources to support him right now.
Yep.
But yeah, it's good to see him actually get somewhere that does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's true. I mean, Flipside's roster is looking super solid from NA talent in particular.
They've been picking up all the scraps everyone's been dropping.
Yeah.
The scraps are juicy bits.
Right? Like Solaris, Clarity, Demos, IVD, all of these teams here, they're like, yes, we will take all of your players.
All the great ones. Get in there.
So yeah, that's cool to see. I mean, they've got a solid roster. We know at least two of their players are in Challenge League this year so far.
Yeah. Bales, I believe, made it.
Yep, Bales and Puck are both qualified up. Maybe there'll be more players in the future because there are still at least two more qualifiers coming up Wednesday and Thursday this week. So make sure you guys are keeping your eyes open for that stuff. But yeah, that's what's happening with Flipside at least. And what about Psystorm?
Well, they have picked up Ender.
Yes. Ender, another WCS player there. So, very cool to see. Psystorm Gaming is another one of those newer organizations that sort of popped up. It was made kind of summertime of 2014, then started really picking up some players in the September sort of fall period there, like SWS and stuff, Sleet, Migraine, those sort of players. But as of now, they've got SWS, Intense, Ender, and Fog on their kind of main roster, their main squad that they've got. And of course, Ender is in Challenge League right now for WCS, so there's that cool to have him represented there. Sleet and Migraine, of course, are their like academy squad that they've got. So. Solid new team that's kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then sort of the last kind of big name team and player change is just MMA news. But what's happening with MMA?
Well, MMA news isn't too exciting, but it's good news, and it's that MMA has re-signed with Acer Esports for 2015. So I believe he's there for the whole year.
Yep, that will be true. And actually, I just noticed that to kind of slide back to the Heroes of the Storm, because I saw somebody in chat mentioning, do you guys know anyone personally that plays Heroes? I play Heroes, but I'm not like they're saying that they only know people that are trying to get into it to gain something or whatever, but I like the game as a casual MOBA. Because I played Dota, and it's very competitive. It's easy to kind of make a mistake and things can snowball out of control, where that doesn't happen as much with Heroes of the Storm is what I've noticed. I couldn't really ever get into LoL, and the one aspect I like with Heroes is that it takes away all the items altogether. There's team experience and stuff, so you really can just go in and sit there and micro around and have fun. You don't have to like worry too much. It's a brawler, Crimson says. Yeah, so it's
you'll never hear Blizzard calling it a MOBA.
Yeah, so I like Heroes. I'm gonna keep playing it even when it's released and stuff. I'll probably play it. It's kind of fit that sort of genre for me of like, all right, I'm gonna kill 20 minutes or whatever and play a game real quick. I can play as Abathur. I can play as Nova and stuff like that, and I can play as Diablo. I can play as the Blizzard heroes and stuff that I know. I know this genre very, very well. I've been playing it since I was a little kid, so it makes sense, and I don't know, it works for me. So that's not to sound all fanboyish, but it's just how it works, I guess. But yeah, good question there, asking about the Heroes stuff, and we'll see what actually comes up with Heroes in the future. But those are our team and player changes for the week and a half or so that's kind of happened. We try to keep you at least up to date week to week about any team and player changes. And as the year is picking up and the tournament system starts kicking into high gear, we might see a little bit more, especially picking up some of these players that might potentially qualify for Challenge League and stuff. We might see some shifting in that regard. But getting into the tournament side of things, I was talking about we had kind of a weekend full of LANs. There was...
Or a day full.
Well, yes, a day full of LANs. They're pretty much all on Saturday. Chycraft, DC LAN, and then the SoulCal LAN. All happened all over the weekend there. So there was that cool stuff going on there. If you guys missed it, there was actually a cool little blog post that got posted up with pictures of the DC LAN. If you guys didn't see it, I'll throw that up in the chat as well. But that's what's going on with some cool local coverage from Troy. He came out, and he actually is not really familiar with StarCraft as much. He kind of went to Red Bull and went to this, and so that was cool for him to kind of be a little bit more introduced to StarCraft and kind of have that perspective and talk a little bit about that aspect of things. But I did want to talk a little bit about our top 3 finishes at each of the LANs. In particular, DC LAN, we had Migraine, End of Line, and Lucky Fool be our top 3. If you guys are paying attention when we were talking about Psystorm, Migraine, of course, is on their academy team. He came out there as a Protoss player, did very, very well for himself. End of Line, of course, one of the local guys, as well as Lucky Fool. End of Line kind of been hovering around that Grandmaster level, but I think right now he was on No Dice for a while, and then I don't know where he is currently team-wise. So, but a lot of our players that we normally get out to the event, like Illusion, Avillo, and stuff like that, did not get to attend this one. A lot of people decided that they were going to get the flu and be sick and other sort of stuff. So sadly, we didn't have as high of a competition, but a lot of the academy and kind of management side of Psystorm came out for the event, so that was cool that a lot of them were able to come and attend the DC LAN. We're looking about having another one in March. I think second, third week, sometime in March is kind of the plan as of right now. So we're going to see how things work out for that. I'm actually currently chopping up all of the VODs for DC LAN and uploading them to YouTube today/tomorrow is kind of my plan for that. So if you guys missed any of the games, I'd recommend you check out the VODs. In particular, watch Migraine versus End of Line, because those are a really, really good series because they were both very evenly matched, and that really showed in their games there. And sliding over to like the Chycraft stuff, that had our top 3 finish consisting of Odin, Honey Bear, and Faith, and in particular, like, I didn't really know Faith was playing very much, so that was cool to see that Faith was able to get third place there. And then Honey Bear is one of the players that you start to see at least a little bit more if you're paying attention to like WCS qualifiers or other qualifiers. His name starts to crop up here and there. Odin is a player that I actually have never really heard of, so I'm not sure what team he's on or anything. I know they at least were nice enough to put the race under their brackets and let us know that he was Terran. So maybe we'll see him. Maybe the reason why we have not seen him in WCS is maybe he's too young. In particular, like Illusion, when he started playing, that like 14-year-old, he was dominating our lands before, you know, he kind of jumped into the regular circuit and regular scene. And with the changes that you have to be, what is it, 16 to be able to play in WCS?
I think now it is, yeah.
So maybe that's a reason why we, or at least I am not as familiar with Odin. I don't know. Or maybe
quite possibly
he goes by another ID, but yeah, it's possible. Oh, and Richard's joining us as well. Of course, Richard was the awesome one to set up the DC LAN over the weekend. Was down in the DC area for, of course, the speed running and all of the awesome games done quick stuff, and helped to set everything up there. But had to leave a little bit early and didn't get to come out for barbecue on Saturday. But sad news. But hopefully we'll be able to have him back out in March when we try to have another event there. But so that's the DC Land Chai Craft stuff. And the SoulCal stuff had a pretty solid turnout. It looks like they had around 30 some players, but they had $1,000 on the line. Very, very solid prize pool, and they had some actually very strong players come to the event. Sleet, Padre, Trace, Silky, Mystic, Arium, Nathanius, Rotterdam, Intense, Love. Did I miss anybody there? I mean, there's
Bubbles.
Bubbles, yep.
Yeah.
SWS is there. Like there was a lot of players that attended the event. But in the end, there was our kind of top three that ended up being able to kind of hold the trophy there. And Trace was our first place finisher there. Which is awesome to see. He actually was able to climb his way up into sort of the winner bracket finals. Ended up winning that 2-1 over Arium. And Arium, of course, knocked down to the loser bracket there. And SWS, who was actually like very like second round losers, and he climbed his way all the way up to be able to play against Intense and Arium and Sleet. And sadly, he lost to Arium, but that just meant there was a rematch against Trace. Cool stuff to see. So our top three, Trace, Arium, SWS there for the SoulCal event. And now I'm a slacker and don't know for a fact if there is going to be, or when the next SoulCal event was. Arium was on the stream a little bit earlier, but it seems like he popped off, so I can't tell you whether or not, or can't ask him. I'll have to spam him on Skype later tonight and ask him to see what's going to be happening with the SoulCal stuff in the future there. But couple other things. There was sort of the team leagues that were going on, like the Sc2 Improve, that we never really saw stuff from, that I was expecting. Oh, maybe we'll see stuff over the holidays.
Right. Not really much has happened.
Not really. And Solaris made it to the finals.
But is no more.
So, yeah. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's happening with that one. And then like No Dice Gaming. Um,
And Root still need to play.
Yeah, they were supposed to play Root at some point, but so who knows what's going to happen with that? This might be a kind of everyone forget about this league; it doesn't exist sort of thing. But not sure there. But Cascade, they had Solaris and Flipside as one of the teams there.
Which you think Flipside should have a deep enough roster to compete on their own now.
Yes, I feel like they're still going to be fine. Silky, Saravati, Puck, Nero, Jon Snow, Flatline, Elhaim, and Bales. They should be able to get it done. They're actually right now ranked 10th, and they're like right at that cutoff mark where they'd still be able to, be able to play, I guess, for next season.
Mm-hmm.
But the cutoff for the sort of top spots did finish up, I guess. I mean, the weeks stopped doing stuff after week 11. When was that? It doesn't even have a date for me. It just says week 11. I don't know, but I noticed that on the playoffs, it has the whole list of the playoffs there. So did this all just finish up without me noticing it? Because it's possible. It's possible, guys. That's the problem also with EU team leagues, is that they're on really, really bad times. And Crimson saying DETL for life. I agree. Back when NA team leagues got it done. But, I don't know. Just wanted to kind of bring that up for you guys. To notice with sort of team leagues that there's really none happening right now. Is kind of the
being the new year and all.
Yeah, being the new year and all. But we have the Axiom Legacy of the Void event. Curran, did you get to watch any of that or
no, I did not. I want to go back. I've been trying to watch as much of the custom mod stuff as I can. Just because I think it's fun and fresh. But I have not gotten to see this. I do want to check out the VODs at some point.
Yeah.
Or the VOD.
I missed out on it. I think it was Sunday that this was taking place. And this was when I was like actually spending time with my chickadee, because I've been AFK last week with StarCraft stuff with casting WCS and DC Land, so I missed out on it, sadly. But I knew QXC and Total Biscuit were doing coverage for it.
A few other people are doing a lot of stuff similar to this as well.
Yeah, so it's cool that there are little events happening based on the mod until like we get the beta. So I like that aspect, that people are interested in it. Also, with the players that ended up playing in it, we had our kind of final between Crank and Impact, and Impact was able to win. I don't have any spoilers for you because I don't really know how the matches went. So I can't say which games to watch or what not. But
it looks like a very back and forth series.
Yes, I mean they're.
It's not just someone dominating in a comeback, at least.
Yeah, that is true. And there's a lot of matches that you guys could be able to watch if you wanted to, because it was an 8-player tournament. So if you was... okay. So Aaron was saying that it had like 30,000 viewers at like 9 in the morning there. So that's solid, if I do say so, as events and stuff go. But yeah, that's really, I can't tell too much more about it since I really was not able to watch much of it and haven't gotten around to checking out the mods. But ASL had finished up their season 3 of the Prime League, at least. Did get to finish up recently. I think they finished up on Sunday as well. No, they actually finished up like a week before. I'm lying. They finished up in January. Is all I know. But since we haven't been here to talk about it, I figure we can at least discuss the fact that Ryung basically got to play his way through, beating Jaedong, beating Huck to make it to the finals. The other side of the bracket, like Parting beat Scarlet, was going to play Journey. Journey got the walkover against Rain, and then Parting got the walkover against Journey. But at least the finals, there was able to have a match, and Parting just was like, okay, cool, I'm just going to win. And just 5-0'd Ryung there. So if you want to watch Protoss beating Terran, watch the finals.
And say, or if you want to watch him beating Zerg, watch the quarterfinals of the playoffs.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, very, very true there. So that was cool to see ASL kind of finish up. It's an awesome little tournament system that they got that I feel like doesn't get enough coverage.
It's on kind of in the afternoon, isn't it, usually?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So, but we'll see what happens for Season 4 and stuff. I don't know if they've got... Let's see, do they have an announcement of the date? Looks like their start date for Season 4 is going to be February 12th.
Oh wow, so like a month away?
Yep, so we've got about a month or so. And just like with what's cool with the ASL stuff is that they've got those little breakdown of leagues that if you're bronze and silver, you can actually play in this, and then you can get prize pool for it, gold, platinum, diamond, low master, and then they've got their sort of master, grandmaster, semi-pro level, and then of course their prime league or whatever is the invite only for professional players. But if you get top 8 in Season 3, you're guaranteed into Season 4. So that's sort of their way of taking, you know what, you did well, come right in kind of thing. So cool stuff. We'll get you guys up to date at least as it gets a little bit closer to ASL as we're getting closer to February.
Yeah.
And that's really what was happening with ASL stuff. But why don't we slide over and talk WCS stuff? Still no word right now, sadly, for Astrea. I don't know what happened to him, guys. He said he was good to join us this evening, but that was earlier today, so something might have come up, and we're going to still try to get in touch with him and have him join us, at least as we are discussing through the WCS stuff. So why don't we at least talk EU stuff first while we wait, and hopefully Astrea will be able to join us a little bit later there. Since we've had 4 qualifiers now for EU, and as it's gone through, had some really cool and exciting matches, and a lot of players make it very far that we'd expect to make it far. Some of the players maybe that we were not as expecting as much to make it were able to make it. I thought it was interesting that Petraeus is playing in the EU qualifiers, because I could have sworn Petraeus was playing in the NA ones last year, but I don't know. But
I think you're right, but I don't recall.
I have to look and see. Petraeus. Results. Let's see what he says. Season 3 of WCS America. Yeah, he was in Challenge League of WCS America. Oh wait, that was 2013. He didn't make it into Challenge League. Did not qualify. He made it to the round of 4, Season 1, made it to the round of 4, Season 2, and made it to the round of 2 of the qualifiers, the final match, and just was not able to qualify up in 2014. So I don't know what happened where he's like, you know what? EU is where I should play, but in the first qualifier, Petraeus made it to basically the semifinals of his group, beating Fraser, beating Bly, and then losing to Hero Marine, who actually went on to qualify up. BCQT actually had a great TVT run, beating Euthermal, Morrow, and Daishi to qualify up for his spot there. And Liblo able to beat Kerr, Mana, Marine Lord, and Bunny to qualify. And 4GG, of course, able to get through Johnny Rico, Bling, and Harstrom there. So he was able to get through there. The second qualifier, again, we had a lot of the players that we'd expect to get far were able to get far. But overall, actually, I can probably just throw up and show you guys the full list of EU who've been able to qualify as it is, instead of just going through all the names. This will just make it that much easier for you guys. Slide it over. Oh, of course, I don't have everything up to date for that. One of these screens, I have things. Let's do it like this. Let's do it like this, guys. Add Current in here so we at least have Current. Just in case Astrea joins us, that we'll have this screen ready to go to. Blam.
Then you'll just have to scramble to fix the.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, I don't even know. All right, so we've got the list for you guys here of our Europeans that have been able to qualify up as it goes. I don't know who this Pity Drogo is, though. He is a new name to me.
He qualified on the second day.
Yes, he made it to the semifinals on the first day, but able to qualify up on the second day there.
And beat Snoot for the spot.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool to see. Snoot, of course, able to qualify it anyway, but we're seeing a lot of Terrans qualify up this season. Like, usually when I think of EU, I'm thinking a lot more of their Protoss and their Zerg players, but Euthermal, Marine Lord, Kaz, Bunny, Beastie QT, 4GG, and Hero Marine have all been able to qualify up so far.
Yeah, and you usually expect, Bunny and 4GG and a few people like that to make it. But
yes.
Yeah, it feels like there's more than usual.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're missing out on some of our Protoss and Zerg players. Now, I'm sure everyone's looking at the list and kind of thinking, there's this one team list player that's supposed to be retired that qualified up. That's right, Naniwal's back, guys. He's back.
For how long? Who knows?
Yep.
You know, we really don't know. He could be in the middle of a tournament, and then that's stuff.
It's possible. It's possible there. And there's still actually a lot more qualifiers for EU in particular, since EU does have
two more.
They've got their two more set up for their main qualifiers, and they have like their last chance. So I guess they have like 3.
Okay, yeah.
But we've been talking about Petraeus. Petraeus was actually made it to the finals against Snoot to qualify up this time around. Was unable to. So
yeah, in that last one. So hopefully he'll get another shot. Next 3.
Hopefully he will. And I just noticed that the WCS qualifier Liquipedia page is not up to date because it does not have Wellmu on the list, and Wellmu did qualify up today.
It has Wellmu on the list.
Maybe
qualified players.
Not on the WCS Season 1 qualifier, just like the main qualifier page. Under the EU page, it does have...
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the actual qualifier that has a list of Europe, America, China, Latin America, SEA, and Hong Kong, it doesn't. So any of you guys that are skilled with Liquipedia, go on there and do some correcting, because I'm too lazy right now. But I'm happy that Wellmu made it back in. Is really kind of the point I was trying to get across there. Is that I'm happy Wellmu got in. Majestic actually beat out TLO to grab himself a spot. Mana able to seal the deal over Happy there. So very, very cool. There's going to be another qualifier taking place tomorrow. And it looks like on Wednesday as well. And then their last chance qualifier is going to be on the 16th, so Friday. So they're basically going to be going the next 2 days of qualifiers, the 5th and 6th one. And it makes me wonder, are we going to have more Zergs start to get in? Like, I feel like Petraeus has a good chance. The other players like Sort of, Slivko, Mini Razor, Rhett, TLO, Nurchio, Bly. I think even Demaga has been trying to play a little bit. Also, we've had Targa play a little bit here in the first couple qualifiers. So there's a lot of great Zerg still out there.
Yeah.
Even like with some of our Protoss players that haven't got in, we haven't seen. Bling's been trying pretty hard with it. Showtime has not made it in yet. Hearthstone, Zake hasn't. So there's still a lot of players that have a chance to be able to get in that haven't qualified up. But again, we've got basically 3 more qualifiers for Europe, and then they're going to have the European list set. I'm not sure. Let me double check and see when Challenge League starts for Europe. Do they have a start date yet? No, doesn't seem like they do. Okay. They're gonna leave us hanging to try to guesstimate and figure it out on our own. It seems, but that's okay. What any thoughts with the players that have qualified up, or any of the players that haven't qualified up yet?
None particular. Like I was saying, there's a few of those names there where you just kind of you expect them to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Naniwa, the surprise one.
Yeah,
really.
That makes me wonder. Like, are we going to see like Stefano in the last chance qualifier come in out of nowhere and qualify up just for, for whatever shits and giggles Stefano does? Because he did that last couple, at least 2014. He just was like, all right, I'm retired. Hey guys, I'm just gonna try to qualify for WCS. Oh look, I'm in WCS. All right. Oh look, I'm in Premier League. All right. So I don't know. We'll see what the last couple qualifiers bring for WCS EU there. America, though, is the one that I'm actually much more interested in discussing and talking about. And I was hoping that we would have Astrea on to talk about at least his second qualifier. But why don't we talk about the first qualifier? And with the players that we've had qualify up, this was the one that QXC was able to get his spot. And he had a good run, taking out Kingdom, Moose Gills, Xenocider, and Puck in order to get his spot in there. Played Puck in the finals there. And Bales, of course, teammate of Puck there, had a good run as well, playing Zen, SWS, Ghost User, and then Vibe. And Vibe, one of those players that you're like not really sure what to really expect from him. He doesn't really play as often, but Vibe beat Huck the round before that to make it to the finals. So clearly his ZVP was good enough to beat Huck, but just not on par with Bale's PVZ there. So good on Bales and Puck. Then we had our 2 Koreans be able to take spots in the first qualifier. Violet, one of those players that a lot of people are expecting to get in, was able to go through. He was able to take out Elheim, Astrea, and Masa. Very close match there, 2-1 over Masa. The other one, Hydra. Of course, Root Gaming's Hydra was able to get his way through, beat Trace, beat The Truth, and then played Pult in the final match there and was able to beat Pult. Pult seems to be our other player that a lot of people are kind of expecting to get in.
It's Captain America.
It is Captain America, but we've got 2 more qualifiers left, guys, and the captain isn't in. And I'm sure if you guys were paying attention to Twitter last Thursday, you already know this, but Pult had a good run, making it to the finals there. Basically played TVPs his way up there. And there was another player that had a pretty good run. Kane made his way up through there, taking out Avillo, taking out Go-To User, and played Pult in the finals and ended up beating Pult, winning 2-1 over Pult to be able to qualify up and stopping him again for the second time. Pult has lost a TVZ to be able to qualify. One of the other players, though, that a lot of people are expecting to be able to qualify up for WCS America is a Zerg player. Canadian. Of course, I'm talking about Scarlet. She was playing in the 4th bracket there. And she actually, played against No Regret, ended up winning against No Regret there, moved on to the semifinals, but lost to Astrea 2-1. And then Astrea moved into the finals to play EJ and beat EJK 2-0 there. So Astrea had a pretty solid run, being able to jump his way up over Scarlet. And I think that's something that a lot of people overlooked in this qualifier. A lot of people were so hype over Kane beating Captain America, which is understandably so. But it's still like Scarlet, one of our best NA players, was beaten out by Astrea, who a lot of people aren't as familiar with. So I thought that was cool. The other 2 players that were able to qualify up, Masa, finally able to qualify up, and this is the one that Puck was able to get qualified through. Because he lost to QXC in the first qualifier there. But Puck, basically was playing solid PvPs in the first couple rounds, and then played PvZs the last 2 rounds, playing against Simon and BioIce, of course, the Canadian player. If you guys pay attention when we are talking at least a little bit about Tourcraft and stuff, Master Dulk has mentioned BioIce. He was one of kind of the potential people to make it onto Breaking Out last season and stuff like that. So definitely someone to keep your eyes on in particular there. So good for Puck to get that one. Masa, though, he had a pretty solid run of his own, beating Trace, beating Jon Snow, and then facing Xenocider there in that final match. Xenocider, of course, beat State and Drunken Boy to get in and lock himself in. So as it goes, Bales, Puck, Astrea, QXC, Masa, Hydra, Violet, and Kane are the qualified players so far. There's 2 more qualifiers, Wednesday and Thursday, that are going to be taking place. But there's still a lot of players that, going into this season, I think a lot of people were expecting shouldn't have a problem getting in. We said Captain America. I was saying Scarlet. If you had to look at some of the players that we don't have in WCS America, who do you think should be in WCS America for the Challenge League? Or maybe who would you like to see if we had to pick through?
Well, I'd like to see Saravati get through.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
I've been waiting for the day Brian rises to his greatness.
Yeah, when he's got the time.
And the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, asking me who I want is a much different question than who I think. Okay. I will admit that. I think Jon Snow has a pretty good chance of making it in.
Yeah.
And I also think of course, Scarlet should have a chance as well. I want to say Hendrilisk.
Mm-hmm. Hendrilisk is playing pretty well from what I've seen. I also would love to see State too. You know, since
Yes.
he's been over in Korea for a while, now he's back over playing in NA. I'd love to see
Is he
him.
still living in Korea?
I think so,
I'll
but
say, because I was wondering if ping maybe had an issue or had
I
an effect on
yeah,
his games.
I'm not 100% sure. I could not say for certain, but I am. I would like to say I'm at least 78% sure that he is still in Korea.
Okay, so maybe that's been one of the reasons he had trouble getting through so far.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Huck, I guess, is another player that has his up and downs, but I still feel like he has a good chance of being able to qualify up. Um, that being said, though, like Pult, I guess
Oh yeah,
Pult has a good chance. I actually my dream qualifier spot would be next qualifier spot. Scarlet and Pult are in the same bracket group, opposite ends, meet in the finals, and Scarlet's going to win because Pult sucks right now. TVC. That's what I'm hoping for.
well, you may get your wish. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see what happens on Wednesday there. A Drunken Boy has also been having a pretty solid run. As one of the Terran players there that kind of we haven't seen very much from, apart from his runs in WCS Challenge League, and he was a consistent WCS Challenge League player, like 2013, end of 2014 there, or beginning of 2014. So it's cool to see. It would be cool to see him being able to play and qualify up, because he's definitely been putting in the work, it seems. I'm trying to think other players that Neeb. I don't think we've really seen anything from Neeb.
A bit, but I want to say it's been a while.
Does he? He doesn't get a spot already, does he?
I don't even see him on this
Where
list.
is he? He was no, because he didn't. He made the round of 16 of Premier League, but he wouldn't. No, he wasn't. Oh no, is he not old enough?
Possibly.
He might not be.
So I don't see him on the list of
I
participants.
haven't been seeing him at all, and that makes me wonder. If and that sucks. Like him and Ariam are the two then that would come to mind that like very much deserving of spots and deserving to be able to play, but because of the fact that
It's a global thing. There's
Germany has
stuff.
some little 16-year-olds are only allowed to play. No. Yeah, I'm excited for Wednesday and Thursday to be able to see how the players do. I'm going to be doing some coverage and doing some casting up. I know Ravi and Tempo have been doing some coverage and casting up to see how things go with WCS. So that's going to be cool as we get more information. The way it's going to work, once we have all of our players, there's going to be 4 days of Europe, and they're just going to break it down. Players are going to get paired up, and they've got their sort of one match to determine if they make it or not. If not, then you better luck next year, next season, really. If you do, awesome. Congratulations. You move on to Premier League. You get, what, $2,000, I think? I don't know how much you get for making it in there. Oh, I'm sorry. By making the Challenge League, you get $2,000.
Not bad.
By making it to Premier League, being one of the round of 32 players, you get $4,500. So pretty good incentive, I would say, for the players to be playing. But there's 2 days of America, only 2 days of the America events, but they're going to have 5 matches each day for those. We do have our, how can we classify WCS this season? Because it's not really WCS America, WCS. Once it gets to Challenge League, maybe it is still Challenge League. Is WCS China Challenge League, WCS America, WCS EU Challenge League, and then once it gets to Premier, it's everybody. Is that how we're doing it?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's how it's being set up, because the Challenge League stuff, we do have at least China and like the Southeast Asia Oceanic matches coming up to be able to watch. In particular, on Wednesday, China's matches are going to be taking place, and on Saturday, the Oceanic Southeast Asia matches are going to be taking place. So that is going to be cool to see. There's one Terran player, XY, for our Chinese qualified players. Then we've got 4 Protoss, 3 Zergs. If you guys have been paying attention to some of the Chinese stuff, because they've been having a little bit more tournaments, or at least with just the WCS stuff lately, you might be familiar, like Tude Ming, Jim, Top, Maxed, Zigua, IA, that sort of stuff. Those guys are going to be playing. I guess Clavey, is that how you pronounce his name? I'm not sure, but he is actually a teamless Chinese player. Everybody else is on a team, but he was able to qualify up, and he's going to be playing against Zigua there in the qualifier. So that's awesome to see, even a teamless player like that able to qualify up. As for the Oceanic Southeast Asia matches, I guess Pig, Ender, and King Kong are our 4 players that were able to get in. They're going to be all lined up. I guess is playing Ender, Pig is playing King Kong. I'm not sure how things have gone lately with these players. Actually, I can look on the qualifiers. I was going to say, from at least in 2014, usually King Kong was the one beating Pig. But this time around, Pig beat King Kong in the winners final and the 2-0, and then beat King Kong 4-2 in the grand final there. So I guess Pig is kind of on his game going into things. I guess was able to play Ender in the loser semifinal. And was able to beat him. So maybe this is kind of a little speculation of how those matches are going to be. I don't know. But I think that'll be cool to see this coming weekend, how things go with that. Crimson saying that you can be sure that Base Trade's going to be casting all the Avello games. Probably. You're right. But yeah, we'll get things figured out with hopefully more stuff with WCS America, WCS EU for you guys, and at least have results for the China Challenge League and the Southeast Asian Challenge League for next week for you guys. And we'll have Dulk back with us next week, and hopefully we can figure out about what happened with our guests by next week. But that's really it. I mean, we were hoping to have Astrea.
So did we talk about ladder map?
Oh, did I forget about the ladder maps altogether? I must have. So, Curran, what did we miss with the ladder maps? What's happening with the ladder maps?
Well, new season for 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And for this new season, they're getting rid of King Sejong Station, Foxtrot Labs, Merry-Go-Round, and Nimbus.
Yep. And they've got
all in place.
Some new maps for us.
Yep.
And actually, I can pull up the picture of those.
Expedition Lost, Secret Spring, Vanaheim Vanny, something like that, research station, and Inferno Pools.
Inferno Pools.
And there's a lot of pocket naturals, if you will, like in-base naturals.
All right, let me slide over to this. I can show you guys at least what some of these maps look like. And this, I'll throw up Secret Spring first.
If Secret Spring has a free base in the back, it looks like.
Yes, it does.
As well as Vanu Research Station, or Vanny Research Station, and Inferno Pools does not.
I do like the tile set for Inferno Pools, though.
Oh yeah, it was a terrible map, but I loved Dual Site because it had the two sides. It was an awful map, though.
And Expedition Lost, you gotta have an icy, snowy map because, why not?
As long as it's not actually snowing.
You don't like the snow?
On certain maps, it was real bad.
Yes,
it was.
I
forget which map it was. There was a period of time there where King Sejong was in there, a couple other snowy ones, and one of them made it so hard to see roaches and everything through a stream.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, Astrea has joined us, guys.
I'm here. I'm so sorry I'm late.
That's okay. You were able to join us. Like, perfect timing. That's really what
okay.
it is.
I have no video. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll make it work.
Okay.
Okay, why is my... Oh, that's why. I'm getting all thrown off with the... all of my overlays, guys. Give me 1 second while we get it all sorted out and jumped in here. Alright, cool. So, of course, Astrea, while you're jumping in and joining us, and I'm trying to fix everything because I'm a slacker and not prepared, I guess, why don't you introduce yourself for everybody on stream here?
Okay, I'm Astrea. I started off in a bronze like a scrub, then I think I've been playing for like 3 years, and I made my way to seed and then to root. And I'm in high school. I'm 17 years old, and I live in San Diego. It's pretty exciting.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And you just recently qualified up for WCS Challenge League.
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
Yes. So you were able to qualify up at least 2014, or was it 2013 that you qualified?
It was last year, 2014.
Okay, cool. Sweet. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your run? We talked about it on stream a little bit when we were kind of going over the WCS America and everything like that, but why don't you at least tell us about, from your perspective, how things went with that?
Okay, so I thought I had a fairly easy bracket besides Scarlet. That was obviously going to be the real challenge, but I actually encountered Spectre, who's a Terran player, and I found that to be an extremely hard match. I had no clue that guy was so good, so that was a really tough match for me. All 3 games were like more than 30 minutes, or about 30 minutes,
Nice.
and I actually thought I was going to lose that. I went down 1-0, then I got behind in the second game. So I won that barely, and then I got on Scarlet, and then after the first game, I realized I wasn't going to play a long air game Swarm Host for sure, because she's pretty good at that style.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of cheesed her the next 2 games and got pretty lucky, so that was nice. And after that, the last match was pretty nice for me.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to play EJK. Are you familiar with EJK? Like, have you played him on the ladder or anything like that?
I was not familiar with him, so I was just sticking to my standard macro builds, and they seemed to work out.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense there. So why don't you tell us what's your thoughts with the changes to WCS, since you're actually a player going into it, like the changes maybe to how Challenge League is run, how Premier League's run, that sort of stuff we'll start with, and then we can talk a little bit more detail.
Okay, well, I'm actually a fan of the Premier League changes where everything is just one thing. I think that the way they distribute it, like the different amounts of players for different regions, actually makes a lot of sense, because that's they distribute it where the good players are, gets more spots. That makes sense to me. I still don't like Challenger League where it's 1 best of 5. It's more of like a Challenger match than a Challenger League. Mm-hmm. So it makes it seem kind of luck based to the players, from my point of view. Yeah.
So I kind of understand what you're saying with the luck base. What would you like to see then as a league wise for Challenge League? Would you like to see kind of a similar to Premier League of have every different region feed into it, or still have like the America has their qualifier spots, and since there's what they're going to be, I guess there's 10 matches available, so have all those 20 players play in their own little tournament kind of thing?
I think sticking to regional players playing each other to get to Premier League is fine as long as they play like a few other players, like maybe pools of 4. It would make sense to me, so that they'd actually play a bunch of different players instead of just getting one player. Maybe a bad matchup or something would be really unlucky.
Okay, that makes sense. So basically, have it like Premier League groups, but
Right.
be Challenge League style. Okay. Yeah. I think that would be cool to see that sort of thing and have at least a little bit variety. Yes, it might take longer, but with the increased prize pool that's set up for Challenge League now and everything, I think it could be worth it and stuff. So,
Right.
Curran, do you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask Astrea?
Not in particular. You've been doing a pretty good job there.
Caught you off guard. Stole all the good questions is really what it is. Actually, Astrea, I'm curious if you'd be interested or willing to talk about some of your practice regimen going into kind of this season of WCS.
Well, that's a little awkward because I've actually been playing a lot of Counter-Strike. But like before I actually started playing Counter-Strike a week ago, so I've been playing like all this week. But before that, I was actually practicing a lot. I was actually pretty focused with school, so it's not like too much every day. But I feel like it's more important to get good quality practice, like lots of sleep every night. Stuff like that. That may not sound too important, but if you get good quality practice, like 2 or 3 hours a day, I think it's perfectly fine. And I actually, when I ladder, I look a lot more at my replays and like playing a sheer number of games, like a lot of other players. And shout outs to Suppy because I practice with him a lot. He's really good.
Okay, nice. Yep, Suppy is a pretty solid player there. So you do kind of a mix of ladder as well as kind of custom gaming with players that you know?
Right. I get my hands on whatever. Custom games are always more better for me than ladder games when it comes to practice because I can practice against one player a lot of times in a row and try to adapt to their style and see what I can do versus them. But when I can't get a custom game, I'll just ladder.
Okay. That sounds solid. So looking at the players that have qualified up so far to Challenge League, it's got a solid mix race-wise. I mean, there's still 2 more qualifiers to go, but if you had to get placed against one player that you'd be the happiest against and one player that you'd be the least happiest against out of the few that we have, who would those players be?
Well, I'd actually need to pull up the list, but I know for a fact that I'd probably not want to play Polt if he qualifies. Is he already qualified?
No, he's been denied twice.
Wow. Well, if he does qualify, I think my
PVT already. Okay.
My PVT is my weakest, so I'm not feeling Polt. I probably wouldn't do very well there.
Okay.
And most favorite, I'd have to pull up the list. I don't know who's actually like all of them.
So we've got Bales, Puck, and of course you as our 3 Protoss players, QXC, Masa as our Terrans, and then Hydra, Violet, and Kane are our Zerg players.
Okay, that's a pretty good list. I'd say my PvP is pretty solid. I'll go with Bales because he hasn't put up as many results as the other players, and I've had some trouble with like Puck and Violet and some of the other players on that list.
Okay, that makes sense. Have you been following really any of the qualifiers, or at least any of the other groups when you've been trying to qualify up?
Not really. I mean, I was obviously following the 2 I played in. And I watched a little bit of the Sc2upandcoming, and that was kind of exciting. I was watching Aiga's.
Nice. Yes. Okay. Well, I was just curious. Like you mentioned, like Polt as one of the players that you think will probably qualify, and you don't want to play him. But if you had to pick maybe some other players that jump out in your mind that you think have a really good chance or are likely to qualify, are there any that come to mind for that?
Yeah, it's surprising to me that Huck hasn't qualified yet. I'm sure he probably will. I'm not sure who else, to be honest.
Okay. So we'll just have to wait and see this week and get things all sorted out going into at least the start of Challenge League there. Now I'm blanking on the next question I was going to ask.
You have your list prepared?
No, I didn't. I'm a slacker. I ran through the like 5 questions that I had initially, and now I'm like, all right, now it goes to the random off the top of my head questions. But
I was going to ask, do you find it difficult to balance school and practice and everything, or have you figured out a pretty good schedule for that? You were saying you like to get a lot of rest and get quality practice rather than a lot of it. And I'm sure that partially is because your schedule's a little crazy being a student.
The thing is, like, sometimes they can balance it really well, and then sometimes they just go on, like, binge StarCraft playing where I'm staying up too late and then I don't get enough sleep. But when I'm in a, like, I perform my best when I actually play less StarCraft and I do everything else in my life really well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When I'm just playing, like, mad, it usually makes me play worse, actually.
So right now you are still in high school. Are you planning on taking a break before you go to college, or going to college, or do you have things figured out for your next step?
Well, I'm definitely going to college, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing this summer, to be honest.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. I know a lot of players like Suppy and stuff like that have kind of taken a break from school for a little bit, or other players have tried taking a break before, especially with like maybe changes to WCS if that factors in. But
I wasn't really planning on taking a break after high school. We're gonna go straight to college after summer.
All right, cool.
Nice.
So actually, as being one of the young players able to qualify up, do you have any thoughts or opinions on the age restriction for WCS?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't know why they imposed it. I feel really bad for Ariam, actually. Yeah, he was very unhappy.
Yes, I can understand that, especially as he kind of helped get his name out there by being able to qualify for WCS last year. So that does suck that something that affects the EU region has to affect the rest of the qualifying regions. But I guess that's kind of out of our control, and we're just going to have to make do. It just hopefully some of the players like Ariam and them aren't going to have their skills deteriorate when they aren't able to play in WCS there.
Yeah.
But Curran, any other questions that you wanted to shoot towards Astrea?
Not that I can think of right now. I'm sure there are good ones I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, we kind of did a speed run and bombarded you with a lot of questions all at once when you jumped on. So
that's all right.
But I think that's really kind of our major stuff that we wanted to talk about with you is WCS and going into things. And it's hard to really kind of make speculations about who you're going to be playing and stuff, since there's still at least 2 more qualifiers that are going to be taking place this week and everything. But so your plan then is, as far as we know, is just to continue to play in as many of the qualifiers for this year as possible, as long as things work out. Okay, cool. Well, do you have any shout-outs or anything that you want to give before we kind of sign off for the night? Because you were kind of our last bit of the show. We already went through everything else.
Not really. I mean, shout-outs to Root for their being my team, I guess.
Cool. Good stuff. But do you do any streaming or anything else like that, or anywhere that people can follow you?
My computer is usually too much of a potato for me to stream well. But just follow Team Root, I guess, man.
Good to know. So then actually let's finish up with shout-outs as well. Curran, why don't you do your shout-outs for the evening, sir?
I will shout out to Astrea for coming on, and and you guys can follow me at Curran TV on Twitter if you really feel like finding out when I'm doing random stuff for StarCraft or seeing random space pictures. And yeah, just thank you to teams and people that give me stuff to observe or produce, like IVD and Fear Dragon and people like that.
Awesome. So I'm Nanman, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. This is, of course, SC2 Up and Coming. Make sure you hit all the follow buttons and all that good stuff. You can see everyone's Twitter all below their pictures and all that stuff on the screen. If you haven't followed the Twitch yet, please do so, twitch.tv/TheRealNanman, because we go live every single Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to try to continue to have more and more guests on, and as WCS starts to kick in, maybe we'll have some more focus on that, as well as some other programs. Of course, like I talked about over the weekend, there was all the lands and stuff, and I'm currently chopping up the VODs from the DC land, so if you keep an eye on my YouTube, which is youtube.com/Nanman, you'll see a lot more content that I'm starting to do over there. Wednesday and Thursday this week is going to be WCS America, and I will be doing some coverage for that. on this channel as well. So make sure you guys are checking that stuff out. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.
No, yeah, thanks for coming on.